particular body of water. That's all it is. So now we're going to go into an exercise, and this is something that actually really surprises people. So what we're going to do is I'm going to give some sections of the audience some cards. Now, as we mentioned, that we live in, there's almost 17 million, actually, there's over 17 million people living in the Chesapeake Bay watershed. So this is going to bring it home for you guys. We're going to pretend that you guys live in different states within the watershed, and I have a bag of trash, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to pretend we all live on beachfront properties. Okay?
Don't we wish?
And you can make it as nice as you want to. You live in a $1 million mansion on a beach, okay? So that's what we're going to do. And then I'm going to give you guys a piece of trash, and then I'm going to ask you guys to throw it into the Chesapeake Bay. We're going to pretend all this is all Chesapeake Bay, okay?
So I have a question.
Yes.
I noticed a lot when the guys that are doing the lawns and sweeping up the leaves and whatnot, and they will sweep that waste down into the, what did you call it?
Storm
Into
drains.
storm drains. It can actually, and that's actually a bad thing. So maybe what we can do is 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so each section can get one card. So each section just gets one card.
Each row.
Each row, yeah, each row will just get one card, and then we can go around with the bag of trash, and then I can finish answering your question. Okay.
Just take one piece of
Yeah, just take one piece. Each person takes one piece of trash. Okay. So what happens is that as they're sweeping the leaves, it's going to clog the storm drains, and then that causes a flood on the streets eventually if it doesn't get cleaned out. So that can
foggy bottom every time it rains. We have flooding, because the drains get messed with.
right. They exactly, and so. Which again could be, something else that another grant that can be done. Okay. Yes.
So I'm finding now a lot of the storm drains that they have in my area are filled with rocks, so it's just really getting water. Is that really helping any? Is it just the illusion that it's helping, because you can't really get trash and it's only liquid that can really go by because they're full of rocks?
Yes, so they're using it as a filter. That's what they're trying to do, is they're using it as a filter. However, it only really helps with the water. It just slows down the water from going into the stream so quickly. That's why the rocks are probably there. And so, because what happens is during any type of rainstorm, the water rushes directly into the stream, which is really bad for all those little creatures that I told you about inside of the streams, of the local streams. And it causes a lot of sediment to rush through their habitat, which causes them to not have as much oxygen. So, I've been on field trips in which I've looked at these little insects, and they're covered in sediment, which means that they can't even breathe. They have, their gills are covered, and that's bad, because the EPA considers them a very important indicator for water quality.
Can I ask you guys to hold some of your questions, because we're
we're
going over, and she's so interesting and she knows so much. So if we can just hold some of your questions.
Okay, so now we're going to go into our little activities. So everybody has their trash.
Yes.
Okay, great. So what I'm going to ask you guys to do, if we can kind of have the people to come over, maybe I don't know if it's easier. Okay, so right over in this section and up the front, if we can just have everybody to throw their trash right around here, each person. And then I want you guys to kind of stand up and see what happens.
And you're there? We're DC. We're DC.
West Virginia.
Throw a lot of
Okay.
Throw a lot from West Virginia, right?
Okay. So, what I want you guys to see what's over here, and think about 17 million people doing this every day.
Wow.
Okay, 17 million people can be doing this every day. What is the most type of trash that you see here?
Plastic.
Plastic. Yes, this is exactly what you would mainly find in your streams. Can this be recycled?
Yes.
No.
No.
You can.
Well,
no,
we're gonna hear from
we're
the
gonna get-
recycle queen in a minute. But she's
So-
gonna tell you how.
Okay.
She'll tell you how. But
Well, if you were to put this in just like a regular recycling bin, a lot of what happens is that it gets caught up in the conveyor belts, and so it can actually stop the process, right? And so a lot of people do not recommend that. Like if you talk to some people, they will recommend for you not to put this in the recycling bin.
So on your trash can thing, they gave you recycling trash can.
right, and Tia is gonna explain and tell us where we can recycle these kinds of things that you don't put into the recycle bin
Styrofoam.
Bad.
Right, it is
Boo!
bad. Yes.
Boo!
It is very bad. However, what's interesting about the styrofoam, there was a teacher that decided to do some research about styrofoam and found out that mealworms actually eat this.
Huh.
Wow.
And yeah, they actually did a little project and got a prize from Morgan State for their research. And so it was a middle school class, by the way, that did this study. And
so we get some
so yes, you can get some mealworms and feed it to them.
There's better ways to tackle
there's better ways.
But
yes.
just speaking of
But-
styrofoam is not.
No, it's not. But there are some places that can recycle styrofoam.
Yes, I found
there
one.
are, because I lived in Delaware and I was on the recycling team at Siemens Healthcare Diagnostics when I worked there. And we used to take all the styrofoam boxes and take it to that one particular site.
There's a place in
So,
Crofton. I took it there. So.
And caps. Usually these caps cannot be recycled. I was told by one of the trash places in Baltimore that they would prefer you to take off the caps and to throw them away. There is one place that I know of that we were taught at Siemens that can recycle caps. So we used to go around teaching people in our company, like, just take off the caps, and we used to recycle these separately. And it's a place in Pennsylvania that can recycle the caps.
Well, why is there a difference between the plastic caps and the plastic?
And that will be,
Yeah.
right, that'll be our expert here.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, I just wanted to kind of show you what most of the items that you would find.
Like this can't go
In
down
here.
in there because it'll get caught in the machine.
Right. So if we can have somebody to put
Clean
it
this
back,
up,
yeah.
babe.
Okay.
Okay, so what I wanted to just show you guys is just exactly what happens. You know, if you throw your trash. So now I'm going to show you the effects. These are some kids in Baltimore City. I don't know this. Okay. So we have some kids in Baltimore City that were picking this up. These kids picked up 500 pounds worth of trash within 2 hours.
Wow.
And then their teacher said, oh, we want to do this again. And they did it again with another group of students, and same result. And this is what they found.
Wow.
So this type of pollution is called non-point source pollution. It means it comes from multiple sources, and it cannot be traced back to one single source. So that's what we call non-point source pollution, and that is the largest type of pollution that happens in the Chesapeake Bay.
That's
So-
that kind of stuff the lady was talking about with the grass growing down there, from blowing people, lawn people.
Yes, the fertilizers. For the sewage, so sewage, again, if you flush your toilet, get water from your faucet, it's going to go into a wastewater treatment plant. And by the way, all that water gets reused. And a lot of kids are going, ew, it gets reused, ew. You know, so that's what I always hear in class. And even adults too. They're like, ew. So yes, it gets treated. That's the reason why they use the chemical treatments and they clean the water.
I have a question.
And if we can just hold off on the questions,
we're
yeah.
running
Because,
over.
yeah, I only have like 5 more minutes. Sewage pipe, now probably 3.
Now for
So sewage lines run underneath our local streams, and if the sewage line breaks, then all the contents will spill into the stream.
That's bad.
Which we call point source pollution because it
one
comes
source.
back from one source. You can trace it. So anything like the Gulf oil spill, that was considered point source pollution. Now, so the last thing that we're going to actually talk about are the pharmaceutical drugs. Pharmaceutical drugs are pollutants. And so we're going to also talk about some of the solutions, which is the reason why I put down solutions. You should never flush pharmaceutical drugs down a toilet or sink. Why? Because it goes back to this. They go, you know, if there's any type of sewage spill, it's going to go right into the streams and into the bay. So that's why we don't want that. Fact number 2, drug manufacturers also can, they are also guilty of dumping the drugs in there. Wastewater treatment plants have tested positive for drugs in the water in traceable amounts. All that means is that there were some traces and it may not affect us personally. At least they haven't seen anything that has affected us yet. So that's the big word, yet. So again, so far it hasn't been found harmful to humans, but it has been harmful to the wildlife. And intersex fish have been found in most polluted areas in the Potomac River, which means that they change sexes. They can go from male to female. So that is what the pharmaceutical drugs have done. Here's some solutions. So we talked about disposing them in the trash or a designated pharmacy or health facility, and again about the whole intersex fish. Now, Baltimore's drug problem, because yes, Baltimore has been seeing this too. What they did was they did a study in the streams, 2 of the streams that my kids have actually been in and tested, and traceable amounts of amphetamines have been found in 2 major streams.
Wow.
No algae has been found growing in the streams as a result.
Wow.
Stream insects have evolved into adults at a faster rate because of this. That's bad, because those macroinvertebrates I was talking to you about and stream bottom insects, that's bad. Okay? They can't be, we don't need them turning into adults quicker because they only have a lifespan when they turn into an adult fly, maybe about a couple days, if that, and that's it. So, I was going to go into the whole reducing runoff, but I know that we're pretty much out of time.
If you can
Okay.
quickly.
So a way to reduce runoff is rain barrels, rain gardens. Here is an example of a rain barrel here. All it is, it collects water, and you can water your plants, not for garden usage, just regular plants, because the pollutants are coming off of your roof, and so they don't want the pollutants on your vegetable garden. So I was going to go into the rain check rebate program,
Right,
but I'll
the
have,
alternative
but yeah.
compliance program.
Then a rain garden. So all it is, it's a deep area of of land, and it's covered with plants and shrubs to stop the stormwater runoff. This is how the process is done. The 4 to 8 inch area is dug, and then you have fresh and native plants and shrubs are there to capture the rainwater, and then that's the end product. And then actually it can help to increase your property value if you do things like this too. And the same thing with the rain barrels. So that's pretty much my presentation. So I know that we had a lot of questions, but I'll turn it back over to Robin.
Thank you, thank you. I mean, she is a wealth of knowledge. If you want to ask her questions, you can ask her afterward. But she just